and the render tent.
Sometimes I wonder, is she seeing stuff and that it really is there, it's just we're not seeing it?
My two hopes for Jenny are very simple. I want her to be able to find moments of happiness in the day. When Susan and I were living in the same apartment, it felt more like we were in this together.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is June 3rd. June 3rd. That was supposed to be the day that Lorelai got married, on June 3rd. Remember on Gilmore Girls when she was going to marry Luke and then she got really wasted at Lane's wedding, and then she went up on stage and she was so, after taking all those shots of tequila, and then she was just like, and I'm not getting married on June 3rd. It's Lorelai and Luke's fake wedding date, you guys. Everyone say a moment of silence. Now, in all seriousness, I woke up this morning and I had a video that had been getting a lot of hits, and I was actually kind of shocked. I'd made this video back in September of 2020, and I was like, why is everyone checking in with the Schofields? Now, if you're new to my channel, you might not know about Janny, Bodie, Susan, and Michael. I'm not gonna bore you with all of the details because I have a ton of videos about this family, but someone on TikTok had made a video, perhaps inspired by this woman named Sophia Hartman, who was recently caught doing a bunch of things to her daughter that was adopted and putting her through a bunch of procedures. I'm not gonna go into all the details on that either. It's just too much. A lot of times when these kinds of cases pop up, people become inspired to look back through time to find other mothers that have done things that are similar. Well, Susan Schofield has long been suspected to have the same type of issues, though she's never been diagnosed. And this TikTok, who, by the way, she got massive views on, over 2 million this morning when I checked in, I noticed that she was putting together a story in a very cute timeline that was for the most part very well orchestrated. However, there were a few pieces that she got wrong. But I thought something, maybe we should just do an update. If you're coming here and you're new to the story, why don't you just check out my playlists and you can see the old videos and you can see what I looked like way before I even knew how to have a channel. I wore big headphones and I just rambled on and on. But now today we're gonna do a very concise timeline. The last time we checked in with the Schofields, Susan she had lost custody of the kids. Now Susan's family rose to fame through Discovery Health. Her family, which was comprised at the time of Michael, Janny, and Bodie, they all lived together in California, and the parents had claimed that Janny who was an adolescent at the time, was one of the youngest children ever born with schizophrenia or ever diagnosed with this disorder. It was unique because children are not typically diagnosed with this, and it's something that usually comes into diagnosis in their teens or early 20s. So it was unique, and we sort of walked into this world of Janny where she was engaged with numbers and she had all of these little pets that were imaginary, and Dr. Phil and Oprah interviewed her, and we saw a precarious little girl with wild, unkept curly hair, and the world was kind of captivated by this story. Her dad went on to write a book about getting January out of her mind, and for a while we thought this was going to have a good ending. When we checked back in a couple years later, she and the family was in a very tense situation, and Michael and Susan were living in separate apartments because Janny couldn't live in the same apartment as her brother Bodie because of behavioral issues. Cut to 2015, the two of them end up getting a divorce, and then in 2019, after Susan starts this YouTube channel where the kids just do not look good at all, the kids just look zoned out, she's got them on so many meds, and people online start to get concerned. Well, it turns out that not only was the kids online concerned, but also her ex-husband, Michael. So Michael did what he knew best, and he ran to Dr. Phil. And on the Dr. Phil episode, it was wild. Like, she admitted to taking her son Bodhi to over 50 doctors, trying to get a specific diagnosis to get him on specific meds, because she also believed that Bodhi had the same condition as her daughter Janny. It was suspected at that time that she might have MPB, and Dr. Sophie, who was from Los Angeles County and Family Services, he was like the medical director. He decided that, you know, maybe, just maybe, the mom was actually causing all of these issues. So within about a week of that, there was a intervention that was done, and the kids were actually removed from Susan's care. Michael at this point had moved to Minnesota. He had a new wife and a new child, and apparently had no interest in taking the kids. It was also during the same time that I had some conversations with Michael, and Michael was telling me that he was unable to take the kids because he claimed that he had his own mental health issues and was in intense therapy to deal with these issues, and because of that, he was not in a position to take his children. In a way, I feel like he almost felt like he was more of a burden to his kids than he could actually help, even though he had another wife and family. Although I should say that I think his new wife was doing a lot of the heavy lifting, if you know what I'm saying. Now, Michael, who works as a professor and has taught at various colleges around the country, he is still here in Minnesota, and Janny and Bodhi are still in California. Now, in the specific viral TikTok, she got a few things incorrect, and I just want to correct them and then also give you some updates about what's going on here. So last time I did a video on this channel, I let you guys know that Janny was back with Susan, even though no one wanted her to be with her. So in March of 2019, the court stepped in and removed the kids from Susan. After months of court intervention, of a hearing, of evaluations, the court stepped in and basically deemed that she was not fit to be a parent. At no time during those proceedings was it discussed that she had the specific diagnoses that is very popular to talk about in the media. In fact, they said it was more like mental health issues that she wasn't taking care of. She had talked on Dr. Phil about having bipolar. So they felt like because she wasn't properly taking care of herself, she also was sort of, in a way, projecting that illness onto her kids. So the court basically deemed her unfit to have the kids. And they put in place a way for her to work towards reunification if she met certain criteria. So Janny, who was 16 at the time, was not able to find a foster family and ended up going into group home. Bodhi was actually placed with a foster family where he actually stayed for 3 years. And now he's with a new foster family. One piece of information she did not get right in her TikTok was that he was not in a group home. He actually was with a foster family for 3 years. And that's gonna get us up to present day with where we're at today. I told you back in September that despite everything, despite all the advice from Janny's counselors and from all of her social workers and everyone that was involved in her care, absolutely no one wanted her to return home to Susan. Janny was 18 years old. She was aging out of the care system, and she made a choice, despite what everyone else said, to go back home to her mother and to finish her high school years with her. This did not make everyone happy, but she went back on YouTube and slowly but surely started looking more like the Janny we saw before they stepped in to intervene. During that same time, they started making all of these videos on their YouTube channel that she titled The Schofield Truth to counteract the supposed lies that were out there. They started making all of these claims and trying to state that the system had no reason to step in. It was all a huge overreaction, that Janny was so happy with her mother, and they started releasing some documents. It started to get and started to look a lot like what it was like before. People were starting to make comments like, oh my gosh, is she ever back on meds? What's going on? It was hard to watch. And then suddenly and abruptly, all of these videos stopped. So she was publishing all of these very short clips, and then suddenly it ended. And then what happened next? Well, in March of 2021, Susan's parental rights were terminated. So she still has Bodhi, who's not 18 yet, and he is not her child anymore legally. So they stepped in after all of this time and basically deemed that she was not fit. They still felt like her mental fitness was not there, not capable of being a parent. And Bodie, who had been in a previous foster care home for like 3 years and had bonded with the family, had to be moved to another home. According to a source who was on Kiwi Farms, they claim that Susan had made like it a living hell for this foster family, and so he was moved to a new family. And that family will need to decide if they want to adopt him. So he's kind of like in the system right now, and Janny, after that announcement was made, suddenly disappears offline. So she hasn't published anything since the court case decision came, basically stating like, Bodie, you're not with mom anymore. Mom is not fit to be with mom, or mom's not fit to be a parent. Dad has all but abandoned the kids, and he wanted to sign over his parental rights like years ago. I honestly just think that he didn't want to deal with Susan, and I think he has his own mental health issues. And honestly, the losers in this situation are the kids. So Bodie's with his foster care family. Janny, nobody knows where she is. We can only assume that she's probably still with her mom. So cut to April, I checked the court records and I noticed that she had been in court for a battery charge. And apparently it happened in October of 2020, and the case was actually dismissed. So the charges were filed shortly after the decision came down from court. So she loses her parental rights, and then she's charged with this specific issue that happens. And then she goes to her arraignment, and they end up dismissing the charges. Since then, she hasn't really been posting very much online. So she obviously cannot talk about Bodie anymore because she's not his mother. She's not. She is his biological mom at this point. She is not legally his mother anymore. So now she's on a quest to try to convince everyone that she shouldn't have had her rights stripped, and has become almost like this conspiracy theory person. Bodie is not with mom and dad because mom and dad were both mentally incompetent, in my opinion, to take care of these kids. I mean, mom is at least. Dad, he's either just a coward or he has his own mental health struggles and just doesn't want to deal with it. Either way, two parents with serious issues gave up on their kids. Two parents that exploited their daughter's supposed illness, which, by the way, she does not have. After extensive evaluations, after they had removed her from care with Susan, it was determined she actually didn't have the disorder that they said. She was diagnosed with autism and some other behavioral issues, but no, the main diagnosis that made her famous, she did not have. TLC, Discovery, Dr. Phil, and Oprah created this family, made them famous, made the dad write a best-selling book, and today, neither parent has custody of either child. Both children are still in the middle of chaos because Janny is still likely living in chaos, because if she's back with Susan, it's not good. And then Susan has this random charge, a court dismissal, and she's saying that her children were stolen. She was never diagnosed with MPV. She was only diagnosed with being mentally unfit. Who are these families that are going onto these shows, onto Discovery Health? Who are these families that are so eager to put their kids out to the world for our entertainment consumption? Who are these families that are so willing to exploit their children's perceived differences or deficiencies for sympathy, for money, for fame? Do healthy people genuinely do these things, or is it fame-seeking narcissists or individuals with severe mental health issues that seem drawn to this type of fame? I feel like a lot of parents would never be interested in this kind of life simply because of the scrutiny that they would be put under. But it seems like a pattern of behavior is starting to unravel here, and we're starting to see a lot, in my opinion, of narcissistic parents that seem to place money, fame, and attention over the safety of their children. And in this case, two kids were removed from custody of both parents. Another TLC tragedy. Another failed experiment. At some point, do we ask ourselves, are these kinds of shows worth it? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.